So Tim Pulliam has been on the ground for us throughout the morning, talking to people who witnessed it, who were actually there when it happened, felt and saw it. Let's go to him now with the latest. Tim, where are you? And have you talked to any more witnesses?
I have talked to some more witnesses, Barbara. There are not a lot of them here still at the scene. A lot of them have left. We are here by Duke Street, very close to the Brightleaf Square district, and you can see that there are still crews here. Within the last 15 minutes, I saw more crews walking towards this scene. I tweeted some of that video here. This is a very controlled scene at this point, but when talking to eyewitnesses, they described the noise that startled them, that, sounded like a bomb had went off. They were startled, rushing out of their buildings, evacuating. So this was a very frantic situation for them. I spoke to a construction worker. We are here by Duke Memorial Church, and they are doing some construction work on the facade of this church as well as on the roof. I want you to listen to his reaction of what he saw and heard. But let me just bring you in, Mr. Hendrick. Tell me what you heard and what you saw.
Well, we were up on the roof, popping our lines and everything, and out of nowhere we hear this loud boom and felt an aftershock. The whole roof system shook, and, I immediately looked over this way, and, pretty much all you see is just a cloud of smoke go up, and then you see the building just slowly crumble down and people scattering out of there and everything.
What was going through your mind when you saw that?
Honestly, I've never experienced anything like that. So, my first instinct was like 9/11. And then, all I could think about is, just my wife and my kids.
Right. There was several of you on the roof. How many? Because you guys have been working all morning.
Yeah, there were about four of us over here, about 5 or 6 on the other side. We all felt the aftershock from it.
Unbelievable. We're still waiting to find out how many people were injured from this incident. Your thoughts to them right now?
I pray, not too many people got hurt too bad, and, a lot of prayers go out to the families of anybody injured, really.
Absolutely. Mr. Hendrick, thank you so much. I imagine work is suspended for the rest of the day. Have you got the call yet?
Right now we're on standby just to see if the smoke's going to clear out and if we're going to be able to get back up there. But there's a good chance it might be called for the day.
Gotcha. Thank you, Mr. Hendrick, so much. So that interview was around 11 o'clock. So it was very fresh in his mind. Now we're around the 2 o'clock hour, 1:30 hour. They are back at work. So they took about a 2-hour break, and now they got the call that they can go back to work on the roof. So that is where they are now. But just taking a live picture here on Duke Street, you can see that it is still shut down, and it will be the case for several more hours. I want people to go to my Twitter page because I just tweeted some images that are a closer look of the damage. I have a few sources here that are working the scene, and they sent me some of those images. So go to my Twitter page at TimABC11, and it's a front close view of them working to get this fire under control.
Tim Pulliam was one of the first reporters in the explosion zone. He started tweeting about the incident before arriving on the scene. He's been getting very emotional reaction from witnesses all day. Tim continues our live team coverage now. Tim, you spoke with a lot of people today, visibly shaken and very emotional. This is a day no one will forget.
Absolutely, Amber. This explosion was shocking and disturbing to so many people who live and work in this area. I'm about 2 blocks away from the scene here at Duke Memorial Church, and you can see from my vantage point the collapsed building, and there are still investigators here on scene looking at this situation. This morning, we captured flames and black smoke was shooting through the air from the building. Many of the witnesses tell me they could feel the explosion. They say it felt like a bomb. Now, I spoke to a witness who either worked near the building or was walking close by. Some of their sound is very graphic, so I just want to warn you about that, but listen to how they describe what they saw.
It
was unsettling. I mean, I have never experienced something like that. I don't think a lot of my coworkers have either. But there were, from what I had heard, there were emergency personnel already on the scene attending to the gas leak before it exploded. So I'm hoping everyone that was around there was evacuated.
There was this lady that was on the side crying when I went to use the bathroom, and I was like, honey, are you okay? She goes, no, it's dead. I was like, wait a minute, who's dead? And then he goes, we were in the front of the building, and he went to the back, and as he was walking back to me, he blew up when the explosion happened right in front of my face.
Just so tragic. The person dead has not yet been identified. Now, what you are looking at right now is damage to the 8th floor of the NC Mutual Life building. An executive there tells me the gas explosion shattered a window on that floor. No one inside was injured. The building was evacuated and people went back to work when they were cleared to do so. There are not many onlookers here at the moment, but they were out here in full force, just in shock and disturbed by what they saw. Amber. Joel.
Cameras on this bus show Rich Myers traveling down North Duke Street seconds before the blast. Chaos unfolds, windows shattering, sending glass and debris flying. The 65-year-old Carolina livery driver visibly shocked, confused, and bleeding.
Right after the blast, and I'm laying on the floor of my bus, reaching for the paper towels. I said two things. I said, I love you, Jesus, and I love you, Gina, my wife. Because at that moment in time, I didn't know if I was going to see her again.
His passenger, a Duke employee, manages to walk away yelling for help. Here's a second look. You see plumes of smoke and projectiles hit the windshield, cracking the glass. Managers at Carolina Livery shared this video exclusively with ABC 11.
My heart races kind of every time that I see it. I've watched it several times, and every time I see it, it's the same way. He's fortunate, that he's okay, but there's so much injury that took place.
The gas leak was first reported at 9:30 a.m. April 10th. Authorities responded and began evacuations. Around 10:06, Myers' bus hit by the explosion. We don't know why the street was not completely blocked. Nearly a month after the explosion, Myers is still out of work, suffering from light sensitivity, headaches, and hearing loss.
Yeah, Tisha, tonight we're learning so much more about Kong Lee through people who became his friends and loyal customers. I spoke to the owner at 9th Street Bakery who tells me that Kong Lee used to own a dry cleaning business before starting this coffee shop over here with his son. Tonight I've been speaking with customers who tell me his death is heartbreaking.
We were here in this building here when we felt the shockwave come through.
Tim Scales was just 2 blocks away at work during Wednesday's gas explosion. The aftermath in front of Caffeinate, his favorite coffee shop, now burned and buried in rubble. Before the blast, crews evacuated the area, but Kong Lee, the shop owner, stayed behind.
As soon as we heard that there was a fatality, my heart just sank because it just felt almost certain that it would be him.
You said you were certain that it would be Mr. Lee. What made you so certain?
He was just such a fixture of that place that I associate that coffee shop with him.
In tribute, Scales posted this image on Facebook that Lee snapped last summer of him and his son Emerson at Caffeinate. Lee offered to capture the special moment to Scales' surprise as a keepsake with his newborn.
And I just thought that was such a sweet gesture, and as soon as I learned the news, I went straight back to that photo, and it was just a very touching memory of him and the kindness that he brought into the world.
But every time I would go in there, he was just like the most welcoming presence.
Molly Gehring is also hurting over the devastating loss. On top of that, she was displaced from her apartment. She's wearing the same clothes she had on yesterday. Today, officials telling her she can return to her home, which is intact, but their community broken, devastated over what they've lost. Several GoFundMe pages have been set up to support Kong Lee's family and his employees. Tisha, Steve, both have raised thousands of dollars.
Throughout Rolanda Hedgepeth's home in Warren County are pictures of her sister, Faith.
And she always had this huge smile.
Memories Rolanda holds close. She showed me Faith's bedroom. Thoughts of her getting ready for prom come to mind.
She had stuff everywhere, but she was gorgeous.
And then there's this photo. Faith at a wedding party just 2 weeks before the 19-year-old UNC sophomore student was beaten, raped, and murdered inside her off-campus apartment. September 7th, 2012, Faith's roommate, Karina Rosario, and a friend discovered her dead.
She's unconscious. I just walked in, there's blood everywhere.
On this 6th anniversary, Faith's killer unknown.
Do you still talk to her?
Sometimes.
And what do you say to her?
If something falls or something, I'll just say, okay, Faith, I know you're here. Sometimes I tell her I miss her.
Over the years, people who were around Faith leading up to her death have been interviewed and investigated with no arrest. Although time has passed, Chapel Hill Police Chief of Investigations, Celisa Lehue, says her team is working on Faith's case every day.
You have full confidence that you're going to solve this case?
I do.
What gives you the confidence?
It's we have some very specific evidence within this case.
Some of that specific evidence includes a threatening message on a takeout bag found in Faith's apartment, a broken rum bottle believed to be the murder weapon, semen found in a sex assault kit matching other DNA at the scene. Police believe it belongs to Hedgepeth's killer. 2 years ago, they released this sketch of Faith's murderer based on that DNA.
How reliable is that sketch with trying to pinpoint a suspect?
I think it's a very important piece.
And then there's genetic genealogy testing. Within the past year, detectives have been working with scientists at Parabon Nanolabs to compare the killer's DNA to DNA stored in public databases. The new service launched in May. To date, the company has successfully helped law enforcement agencies across the country positively identify 9 suspects to crimes. A new tool police are exploring, including several possible motives for Hedgepeth's murder.
It's a part of or a piece of, and you have to put all of those together to, find your suspect.
Pieces that may solve this puzzle after 6 years. That's Rolanda Hedgepeth's prayer, using Faith's legacy this anniversary to award college scholarships to young women like her.
She just loved making a difference in people's lives.
She's still going to do that?
She is. Just not how we thought.
What would you say to the people that you believe harmed Faith?
Your days are numbered. You will not get away with it.
Steve, the woman who works here believes that there are other employees who have been sexually assaulted but are afraid to come forward. So tonight she is telling her story in hopes of changing that and the culture. Lois Jones says for months she's endured verbal and sexual abuse at the hands of a male coworker at a Durham McDonald's.
I see you're getting emotional.
Yeah, because it's horrible. I love working for McDonald's. I love working.
The alleged abuse started in 2018 here at this McDonald's off Hillsborough Road. In a January complaint filed by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, Jones lays out a timeline of explicit encounters with her attacker, ranging from verbal abuse to inappropriate touching.
I was by the cooler. I had to literally wrestle with this man because he was trying to get me in the cooler. So he told me, he said, I could manpower you and held you down if I want to.
The last straw, Lois says, was when her coworker exposed himself. According to the complaint, after reporting the alleged abuse to her general manager, the mother of 7 making $8.50 an hour says nothing changed except her hours were shortened, and she says the abuse continued, this time from her boss.
And I was stupid, I was lying.
In February, she quit. Today, she says her alleged attacker is still employed.
What does that say to you?
McDonald's don't care.
McDonald's says it does care and that both its company and owner and operators are working to, quote, create an environment where everyone feels respected and valued. The company says it will update its sexual harassment policies and provide new training. And starting next month, workers can call a third-party hotline to file complaints.
Treat your workers like you should.
Better wages and better policies around workplace abuse is what workers nationwide and here in Durham are fighting for. Jones also wants her job back with better pay and her attacker fired.
Something just got to be done.
Jones says that she put up with the alleged abuse because her work schedule accommodated her family's schedule. Now, her civil complaint with the EEOC could take up to 6 months or more to be investigated.